The words escape your lips, brittle as frozen leaves. "I'm sorry." They hang in the air between you, a fragile bridge over a chasm of silence. You offered them as a peace treaty, a plea for connection, but you feel no relief. There is no warmth in her gaze. Instead, a cold dread coils in your stomach. The air grows heavier, thicker, as if the apology sucked the oxygen from the room. You see it then, in her eyes. Not forgiveness, not understanding. You see the glint of a newly forged weapon, and you realize with horror you just handed it to her. This is the "I'm sorry" deception. It's one of the most insidious tactics in the playbook of dark psychology, and you've just become its victim. The initial conflict fades, the argument ends, but your apology doesn't die. It's preserved, it's catalogued. Days, weeks, or even months later, it is resurrected. Not as a memory of reconciliation, but as evidence for the prosecution. You try to express a new frustration, a valid need, but your words are cut short. How can you complain about this when you're the one who... Your apology has become a shield for her own behavior, a permanent get-out-of-jail-free card. Your single mistake is now the justification for her dozen. This is not an accident. This is psychology. It's a tactic called emotional leverage. A healthy relationship seeks equilibrium. It understands that mistakes happen, apologies are offered, and forgiveness is a closing of the chapter. But in a manipulative dynamic, the apology is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the moment the manipulator secures an emotional advantage. Your apology is converted into a debt she can call in at any time for any reason. You are now perpetually in the red. Why does this happen? The root is control. A person who weaponizes an apology is often deeply insecure. They cannot tolerate a relationship of equals because it feels unpredictable, unsafe. They need to be in the superior position. Your apology, your moment of vulnerability, is the perfect tool. You willingly place yourself in the one-down position. They simply decide to keep you there, permanently. Let me paint you a picture. Let's call them Arthur and Eleanor. They lived in a house with crooked floors and perpetual shadows. Their relationship was much the same. One evening, Arthur made a mistake. A small one. He was late for dinner, held up at work. He walked in, breathless and apologetic. "I'm so sorry," he said, his voice genuine. "I lost track of time." Eleanor didn't yell. She didn't argue. She simply smiled. It was a smile that didn't offer warmth, but sealed a contract. She said, "It's all right. Don't worry about it." But her tone held the finality of a judge's sentence. From that day on, the time Arthur was late became a cornerstone of their history. It was her foundational text. He wanted to discuss their finances. "Well, Arthur, it's hard to trust your judgment on money when you can't even manage your time." He felt she was being distant. "Perhaps I'm just hesitant to get close to someone so unreliable. Remember dinner?" His apology was not a healed wound. It was an open wound she kept poking with a stick, just to watch him flinch. He began to live in a state of preemptive guilt. He started apologizing for things he hadn't even done, just to appease the ever-present threat of his past failure. He was no longer a partner. He was a parolee, and she was the warden, jury, and judge, holding the keys to a prison he had built for himself with two simple words. Then one day, the transformation happens. It's a quiet click, a shift in perception. The moment the manipulated becomes the aware. It happens during another argument. She pulls out the old, tired weapon. "Just like that time you were late for dinner." But this time, Arthur doesn't flinch. He doesn't shrink. He looks at her, truly looks at her, and sees the mechanism for the first time. He sees the frightened child pulling the levers of a cruel puppet. He sees the desperate need for control masquerading as righteous anger. And he says the words that break the spell. "That was a long time ago, and I already apologized." He's not being defensive. He's not relitigating. He is simply stating a fact. The transaction is complete. Her refusal to accept it is her problem, not his. Here is the truth you must understand. An apology is a two-part key. Your half is the remorse. Their half is the acceptance. When a manipulator refuses to use their half, your key remains useless. The door to resolution stays locked, But you are not trapped with them. You are only trapped if you stay there, waiting for them to turn it. Stop re-apologizing for a crime for which you have already served your sentence. Your guilt was the emotion of the moment, not a lifelong lease she gets to own. Recognize the pattern. Does your apology lead to peace, or does it become a prelude to the next battle? Is it a bridge, or is it ammunition? Your vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a courageous offering. Do not offer it to those who will only melt it down to forge a spear and aim it at your heart.